This is the new 2025 Ford Maverick Lobo. It is a compact, high-performance street truck that won't break the bank. Is it any good? Well, we're going to check out all the features and then take it for a drive. Right now on Driving Sports TV. Here in 2025, Ford has finally completed its trifecta of compact truck performance. You have the Ford Maverick Tremor for off-road performance. You have the Ford Maverick Hybrid for best economy. And then, of course, we now have the 2025 Ford Maverick Lobo, which is the ultimate pickup for street performance. Inspired by the performance mini trucks of the 1990s, this new Lobo features lowered and retuned suspension, a twin-clutch rear-drive unit, and an all-new drive mode tuned for on-track performance. Price of the Maverick Lobo with the high trim package, as you see it here, $43,815 including destination. Compared to a standard Maverick, the ride height on the Lobo has been dropped, a ½ an inch in the front and 1.12 inches in the rear. Roof height also drops almost an inch. Those 19-inch turbofan wheels, they are standard, and they are wrapped in Goodyear Territory HT tires in a 225/55 R19 fitment. Steering has been tuned for performance. It also gets an assist from the twin-clutch rear-drive unit, which can vector torque to the outside wheel while cornering for better feel and reduced understeer. The highest level of performance is unlocked with the new Lobo Drive mode, which maximizes performance while also reducing traction control. To keep it all cool during hot track sessions, the Lobo is equipped with a larger radiator and a transmission oil cooler. Under the hood is Ford's 2-liter 4-cylinder EcoBoost engine. It produces a peak 250 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. It is the same 2-liter you will find in other Mavericks. What is new is that this is connected to a standard 7-speed automatic transmission. EPA rates economy at 21 miles to the gallon in town and 30 on the highway. Being that this is first and foremost a truck, the bed is lined with plenty of tie-downs. Plus, it features both power and lighting with a built-in bottle opener. Payload here maxes out at 1,045 pounds. Towing, it is limited to 2,000. If you need to handle heavier trailers, the Maverick FX4 with a towing package can handle up to 4,000 pounds. Need more? Well, then you'll have to move up to a Ranger or some other mid-sized truck, or just go with an F-150. Of course, this is a compact pickup truck, but they actually managed to give enough room for me. I'm 6'1", legs torso proportionate. I got room for my head. I barely have enough room for my legs, but I do. This is where I would be seated if I were driving. I also get some nice amenities back here. We have 2 USB-C sockets. I get a 400-watt AC power. I get a fold-down armrest with dual cup holders. The only thing really missing back here are vents, which would be nice. But I guess you can't have everything. Okay, let's take a look inside. Powered up. Right, inside we get a nice interior. I like the fabrics here and the dual contrast stitching. Fans of the Seattle Seahawks will appreciate this because those are actually the team colors. The rest of the interior is also very nice. We have like a little bit of blue up here, a little gray here. We have some nice angular patterns worked into it. There is a couple quality concerns that I have. Like this B&O speaker, it kind of is warped. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the B&O system in my Maverick a few years ago also had that same kind of warp right there. But the rest of the interior, it seems very well put together. It's kind of like a big piece of Tupperware, but it's a nicely designed piece of Tupperware. I just feel like this is going to last. It's going to wear well. It looks like plastic, but you know what? I think it's going to work. This is a fun truck, and they kind of give you a playful, fun interior. We get a nicely wrapped steering wheel with controls integrated. We get paddle shifters, and yeah, you know, this is actually kind of nice. Now, I actually did own a Ford Maverick when they first came out several years ago, and I really liked that truck. It was a really comfortable ride, and the 2-liter turbo was just a fun motor. Eventually, I got rid of it because I needed more towing and more capability, especially off-road. This one, however, makes no pretense of being an off-road truck. This is a street performance pickup. So we are not actually taking it through our off-road courses today. And let's talk about this digital gauge cluster. Ford has a lovely large digital gauge cluster that now comes standard in the Bronco Sport Badlands. This one is kind of a cheaper, smaller version. It's okay, I don't mind it, but knowing that they have a much better one in vehicles that cost the same amount of money as this, I just feel like this is kind of lacking a little bit. I do, however, like this big touchscreen. This is a nice widescreen display. It has really good support for wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. They have integrated all of the aircon in a strip at the bottom. However, it's always there, so it doesn't move around the screen, which is nice. And you do get quick, easy access to pretty much everything that you need, from heated seats to the heated steering wheel to individual multi-zone climate controls. I can even turn on the side mirror heaters here, which is nice. Going down below, I get the Pro Trailer controller, which is kind of helping with towing. Although it's kind of funny to have the Pro Trailer controller here, considering this only has a 4-pin connector and it can only tow like 2,000 pounds. Still, I guess if you don't have a lot of experience backing up, that's a useful tool. And then we got little buttons here to kind of give us like camera access and AC. Below that, we get the little controller for the rear window and a USB-C and a USB-A. And I really like the way Ford designs their center console here. We have a nice large area to put mobile devices for wireless charging, but then I can also prop it up so it's vertical. That's just kind of nice. Down here we get a little bin with a removable piece of plastic so we can keep it clean, and then we get another bin there. Okay, anything else? Oh yeah, we have a sunroof at this trim level. I also want to point out this does use the rotary controller for the transmission. It's not bad. The nice thing about it, as opposed to push buttons, is you can use it while you're looking ahead pretty easily because it's definitive. There's a click, you know that you've moved to the next position. Let's take this out on the street and see how it performs, because they've done a lot of trickery with this dual clutch rear drive unit, optimizing this one for performance, and I can't wait to see what it can do. Because this has independent suspension all around, it kind of drives like a car. Plus, it's small, so it'll actually fit into a normal parking spot. That's big. But the real reason to pick up this Lobo is performance. I would be shocked if these don't start cleaning up at the local autocrosses. These things are so quick, and honestly, they're also fun to drive. Of course, this does have the same 121-inch wheelbase that you would find on all other Maverick trucks. So it is a little bit on the long side for tight maneuverability. However, that makes it very nice on the highway where you just get excellent stability. So let's talk about the all-wheel drive system on this truck. It, of course, is using the same all-wheel drive system that you would find on the standard Maverick. It is a clutch in the middle that shifts power to the back. But like the Maverick Tremor, this one has a dual clutched rear drive unit. It's basically the same thing that you would find on the back of my Bronco Sport Badlands. What it can do is lock up the individual 2 rear wheels to improve performance. Now, on the Maverick Tremor, it does so to give the effect of a locker, which will help you through challenging situations. On this one, they tune it for performance. It actually improves handling by locking up that rear outside wheel going around corners, which puts more power down and gives you more of kind of a turn in motion using power in the back. It really changes up the way this truck drives. But keep in mind, on this Lobo, that rear drive unit is only optimized for performance. It does not have any off-road modes. Does this make sense? I mean, Ford already has the Maverick Tremor Edition, which has extra ride height, it has that rear locking unit, and it has extra off-road programs. They, of course, also have both front and all-wheel drive hybrid powertrains. Those are optimized for economy, making it far and away the most economical pickup you can buy. And then this one, it is designed for street and power and fun. And does it deliver? Yes, it does. This has a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that produces 250 horsepower. If you remember back when the Subaru WRX first came to the US, it was 2002. It was a 2-liter engine and it produced 227 horsepower. And that, my friends, was mind-blowing at the time. This one, it's kind of like the WRX all over again, but in a truck. So not only is it quick and fun to drive, it also is extremely useful. Now, I know there's going to be viewers who will be like, if it's not a 6-foot bed, if it can't tow 10,000 pounds, it is absolutely useless as a truck. Well, I'm sorry to say, not everybody has that use case. My wife is a gardener. She often needs to just get bags of soil. I don't want to put bags of soil inside my Land Cruiser because then my Land Cruiser would smell like manure. Not cool. So I can just throw them into the back of this Maverick, no problem. Tools, no problem. Moving the kid to college, no problem. This might be the coolest, the most fun, and oddly enough, the most practical vehicle you can buy today. I love it. The biggest issue I think that Mavericks have is quality control. It's not great. I'm pretty sure that even on my B&O system up here, the plastic didn't quite fit correctly. Also on my Maverick, paint started to chip in places where it shouldn't have chipped. And looking under the body, there were some questionable bends in the metal where you're like, did somebody just hit that with a hammer? But that all aside, I really did enjoy driving that Maverick. The powertrain combined with the all-wheel drive system just made for a really nice vehicle. So let's talk about the inside of this thing while we're at it. We do get the digital gauge cluster, but Ford didn't bother to give us the good one. This is their lower rent gauge cluster, digital, but it still provides a lot of useful information. Over here, we do of course have the larger infotainment system, which is they've been rolling out to a lot of their new 2025 products, and I like it. I think this is actually a really nice display. I don't love that the aircon are virtual buttons on the bottom, but they're small, they're easy to read, and they work well. That is important. And yeah, seats, very comfortable. Kind of everything that you want, nothing you don't. Nice, right? And I love that it's a turbo. Squeeze a little gas. Oh, actually that exhaust sounds good. Okay, let's head off into this little quiet road on the corner. I want to talk about how power is shifted in the back. Because this vehicle is not normal in a good way. It's got some good stuff going on back there. Let's go ahead and switch this into a different drive mode. Oh yeah, they have it up here on the steering wheel. I'm going to switch it to Lobo mode, which is the most extreme. They actually say this is for closed course. This is basically an unused road, so close enough. What it does is it reduces traction control. You can hear the revving going really high, keeps the motor in the turbo zone, and it'll be way more aggressive in shifting that power around between the two rear wheels. When I go into a corner, it's going to overdrive that outside rear wheel to really give me a good turning effect. Ford also says it doubles as drift mode. I'll take their word for that. One thing that is kind of odd about this truck is the fact that it has a 7-speed automatic. It doesn't have an 8-speed. All the other Mavericks have an 8-speed. So what did they do? Well, they actually chucked out second gear because it's kind of not needed. It's a very short gear, and that helps you run through the gears quicker, so you're not getting as much of a delay. Now, that said, second gear can be useful for fuel economy, and that is not what this truck is about. So they basically just threw that one out the window. Now, can you shift it manually? Yes, you can. This does have paddle shifters, and it seems pretty quick. Now, keep in mind, this isn't a special, it's not a dual clutched system or anything like that. This is a standard automatic, but I think that actually, bodes well for longevity, and if you're going to be hard on it, it can probably take the abuse. I do like that sound though, whew. This sounds like so much meatier of an engine than the little 2-liter turbo that we have. Oh, sounds awesome. When I first read about the Lobo, I was like, why do they need to even bother? But now that I've driven this thing, this is so cool. It just is. Now, for me personally, I would like to have a vehicle where I can, really use it for more of a variety of uses, a little on-road, a little off-road. So this isn't a truck I would personally buy. That said, I think it's very appropriate for a lot of potential buyers, because not only do you get something that's very useful, you also get something that's cooler than what most other people are driving these days. It looks cool, it drives great, it sounds nice. I mean, what's not to love about this truck? Oh, and the fact that it's also not terribly expensive considering the current state of the industry. You're looking at around $42,000 for this thing. I think that's great. So just calculate, how much did a WRX cost in 2002 when it was first introduced? Actually, let's pull over, let's do the math. So, $25,000 in 2002 is currently worth $44,672 according to this random website today, calculating inflation and whatnot. So basically this is $2,000 less than the WRX was back in 2002. That, to me, seems like a great deal. Of course, Ford does include all of the active safety stuff that you would expect today. You get collision mitigation, blind spot warning, a nice rear view camera system with cross traffic alerts, and of course, you get adaptive cruise control at this trim level. Let's go ahead and turn it on. We get some really cool graphics up here. I'm going to have lane centering turned on. There. Now let's see how well we center in the lane. I don't feel like it's really, okay, now it's engaged. What do we got here? Is it going to turn with the lane up here? Set my target speed. So the road's going to turn. Now this is a hands-on system. My hands are off of it just for demonstration purposes. Oh, it's telling me to put my hands back on the wheel. But look at that. It is keeping us dead center down the middle of the road, just like it's supposed to. Nicely done. Hands back on the wheel. We're going to switch to Lobo mode and try a 0 to 60. See what this thing can do. Now this isn't scientific, but it should give us a good idea as to what the potential is here. Gonna stop. I am gonna preload a little bit. 3, 2, 1, go. And 30, 40, 50, and 60 in 6.32 seconds. Nice. This thing is properly quick. With the Lobo here, Ford has collected some great hardware that already existed in their other vehicles. A transmission from the Edge ST, a rear drive unit from the Bronco Sport Badlands, engine from the other Mavericks, and of course, larger dual piston front brakes from the European Ford Focus ST. But here, it's all tied together in a way that makes sense. Add on the track-specific Lobo mode, and the potential here is really uncorked, making for something very special. Ultimately, if you are looking for something that is both practical and fun, and you don't plan on going off-road pretty much ever, I think the Ford Maverick Lobo is an excellent choice. It makes great noises, it's really quick, and I think it actually looks pretty great. That said, I don't love the turbofan wheels, but if you like them, more power to you. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share our videos. We make them for you. I hope you enjoy them, and we'll see you again right here on the next video.